you always get nervous before going into a cave. What's it going to be like? Like, is it big pitches or is it going to be wet? You know, or is there going to be really tight crawls? There's nervousness about, you don't know what you're going to expect. Everything's new in a cave, unless you've done it 100 times. Even then, I think you could be surprised. But as soon as you get in, it kind of it dumbs down a bit, and you're left with what's happening right now. You're very in the moment, that you don't really think about what you just did, what you're going to do. It's just like, you're underground, what are you doing right now, and what is your exact next step?
I wasn't a particularly outdoor sort of person. I'd done a little bit of walking, never been underground. And when we were driving up from Leicester, I remember the fear and the anticipation and the adrenaline starting to flow. And then when we parked up and getting changed in the farmyard, that fear and anticipation growing and growing, and the walk down here, and you feel yourself getting really excited, and then getting underground, just awesome, and an awesome experience. It was brilliant. I'm Andy Hitchcock. I'm 60 years old, and I've been caving for approximately 35 years. And this cave here, Giant's Hole, is the very first cave I went into 35 years ago. A friend of mine that I was working with, it was a work colleague really, we'd heard about people going caving, and my mate had gone underground once to this cave, and he said, let's go caving. So just him and I went, and we went in here, and we had a fabulous time. It was the noise of the water cascading, a big pitch, a pothole underground that I looked over, little crawls that I went through. It made a huge impression, and it made me feel as though it was a really, really special place, and somewhere that not only I wanted to go back to, but I wanted other people to experience what I'd just experienced. It was absolutely superb.
Yeah. It reduces the my shoulder. It's physical problems.
In those days, I was, 40. I just loved, nothing could faze me, it was the harder the better, more challenging, the more exciting. My brother-in-law was a caver, and he took me and my sister down into Giants, and we did the full round trip. I remember being absolutely terrified and coming out black and blue. And then about a day later, I thought, wow, that was good. I'd like to do that again. But it was about 20 years before I got a chance to do it again. One of my favourites was Gaping Gill, and about 300 foot below you. And it's quite terrifying. And as you get down there, it's like a thundering waterfall, so you can't hear anything. You can't hear people above you, you can't hear people below. And there's a lot of blank wall re-belays, so you're having to stand on the loop to change your rope over, which is quite frightening. If you get stuck, there's no one there to help. You've just got to do it. And somebody started throwing stones down, and throw stones from the top. I think it's before it was all closed off. By the time they've gathered velocity, they can have it could knock you out. And of course, Steve was shouting all, but they couldn't hear. That was quite scary as well. We all got down and had a bit of a wander around down there. It's a pretty amazing place. And then we headed back up. I remember getting stuck on after the first pitch. I got all my ropes mixed up. I don't know how, or I can't remember really. I've never done rigging, and I had to undo the rig, make sure I was safe with my cast tails, and then redo the knot. So I had to kind of have the presence of mind to remember what sort of knot it was, and put it back safely. But what do? You just sit and wait for help, or just get on with it. Yeah, it was kind of exciting, when you look back on it. At the time, obviously it's frightening, but when you look back on it, it's, oh yeah, I quite liked that. I quite liked the adrenaline buzz of, being in quite a frightening situation. And overcoming, I suppose that's what it's about, isn't it? Overcoming fear. Yeah, if you can overcome things like that, it makes everyday life seem a bit easier.
If your helmet can't get through, your chest won't get through.
It just doesn't feel better though if you can move your head around without stuff.
Get a little leg in there as well.
That's it.
Try not to get kicked in your face.
Of course, 7-year-olds fly through
Oh, man.
in about 10 seconds flat.
To be young.
Farron, my son Farron, his mum and I, we met at a caving cottage, okay? And because we were caving so regularly, we didn't want to put Farron into childcare for a weekend at a time. So from a very early age, Farron came with us. Now, it meant that one of us would stay above ground and look after him while the other one went underground, and we did a day each. But as soon as Farron was old enough to get into a pair of wellies and some waterproofs, we took him into some of the, every caving area we went to, Farron went underground. He probably won't remember some of that now because it was a long, long time ago. He would have only been 6 or 7 when we first introduced him.
I can remember doing a few little small caves. I think there was one in South Wales, potentially in the Mendips. The one I remember the most was Giants, and would have been about 10 or 11 when we did that. I think we went just a little potter about. There's a small little crawl that you can do. I can remember it being very exciting. I think it also scared me being under many millions of tons of rock, because I think the risk of collapse was the thing that worried me the most. Not that it worries me now, because I know how stable mountains can be. But yeah, I definitely remember the nerves before going in, but once you're in there, it's kind of fun. You kind of forget about it all. You're just in a cave. It's exciting. There's lots of noises and echoes, and the light is cool. It's really nice, yeah.
Had quite a big incident in Giants, and which scared me. I did go back to caving, but we did a few more trips, and Farron was about 13, I think, when we stopped, because basically we were struggling for babysitters. Couldn't leave him on his own for the weekend, so it meant one or other of us going, and so we sort of took a pause, but never really got back to it.
I stopped caving for 10 years, okay? And when Farron went back up, well, sort of joined the University of Leeds Speleological Association, ULSA, I got really jealous, and it made me realise that actually I really miss what I used to do such a lot of, yeah? So when he'd been underground a couple of times with ULSA, I said to him, let's go caving. Experience is when I tell people I'm a caver, the immediate reaction is, oh, it must be so claustrophobic, it must be so small, and you must be crawling through tiny little tubes and things, or really tight spaces. And sure, there's an element of that, but then my typical response to someone is, look, I could take you into a cave that you could fit a cathedral in.
Some of the things that I've seen are absolutely amazing. The formations, the waterfalls. I like the name of the club that we're in, Lost World. It is like another world. It's just very unique and special, and not many people have been in there. So you get that feeling of really being away from it as well, away from everything. And you're in a special place.
Seeing something that not many people see is really cool. Yeah, and knowing that you have to be careful to not damage it, because there's so few people that go in there. Because if you go into a museum, everything's covered by glass. You can't touch the Mona Lisa, but you can underground.